Hi everyone and welcome. Just to let you all know, this meeting is going to be recorded and it will be shared on EU Skills as socials at a later date. My name's Charlie. I'm an early career professional in the water industry and I'm currently undertaking an apprenticeship. So currently I work at Yorkshire Water as a water quality scientist and I'm on a graduate programme where part of my development is delivered through an apprenticeship. I'm currently enrolled in a project management apprenticeship. And I joined the industry from university, but taking part in an apprenticeship has allowed me to build on my existing skills and knowledge, learn new skills on the job, and gain, hopefully, a recognised qualification. Working in the industry has been a fantastic experience so far. For me, working in the industry means meeting the challenge each day, where no 2 days are the same and no two issues are the same. It's meant problem solving and working as a collective, as a team, to make things right. It's meant being an active learner, both in my day-to-day role and in my apprenticeship. So today's all about opportunity for people right at the start of their careers and for those who may already be working and thinking about a new challenge, a new direction, or their next step within the industry. The industry is entering one of the most ambitious periods of change it's ever faced. Over the next decade, around £100 billion of investment will be made to modernise infrastructure, improve water quality, protect the environment, and make the system more resilient to climate change and population growth. This includes upgrading and replacing thousands of kilometres of water and wastewater pipes, modernising treatment works, reducing leakage, improving rivers and coastal waters, and strengthening assets that communities rely on every single day. To put that into context, the water industry manages well over 300,000 kilometres of underground pipes, alongside 3,000 treatment works, more than 70,000 pumping stations, over 1,000 reservoirs, and hundreds of thousands of environmental and operational assets spread across towns, cities, and rural areas. Maintaining and renewing that network is a long-term challenge that never stops, and over the next 10 years will accelerate significantly. But none of this can happen without people. The industry currently employs around 60,000 people directly, with many thousand more working across the supply chain in construction, engineering, technology, environmental services, and specialist roles. Over the coming years, the industry will need tens of thousands of new recruits, both to deliver this investment and to replace an aging workforce. To meet that demand, water companies have committed to bringing in around 50,000 new entrants by the end of the decade, including thousands of apprenticeships at all levels, from entry-level roles through to higher-end career apprenticeships. The water industry has a strong focus on growing its talent. Many technical specialists, managers, and leaders begin as apprentices and progress through the industry in a well-established manner. Water companies have a unique place in society. They provide wholesome drinking water, treat wastewater, protect rivers and ecosystems, and manage assets at the heart of communities they serve. Because of that, the workforce needs to reflect those communities in background, experience, perspective, and lived experience. All of this now makes for a brilliant time to be part of the wider industry, with long-term investment and a wider range of roles and opportunities for people with different interests, strengths, and ambitions. Today you'll hear from a number of apprentices undertaking a wide range of apprenticeships across different roles and disciplines. They've all come into the water industry through different routes and at different stages, giving an honest snapshot of what an apprenticeship can look like in practice. So now we're going to listen to their stories and hear directly from apprentices themselves. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function and we will try and answer as many as possible in today's webinar. And if we don't get time to answer, we'll follow up after the event. So if you can play the video, please, Joe.
My name's Aidan Cassidy. I'm a production technician at Affinity Water and I am studying utilities engineering. Honestly, I didn't expect it as it fully changed. As I'm only 19 and only left school about a year and a half ago, I was just like, ugh, work. But the more I researched about it and the more I actually learned on the job, I just got more excited to learn more about the water industry and how everything works and also how to fix it if it goes wrong. A normal day to me consists of a meeting in the morning with my line manager and other production technicians. We just talk about future updates happening at Affinity Water, jobs which have gone wrong in the past, and talk about how to fix them, but also just updates in our region of what's happening. After that, we get onto the road and I shadow other product technicians and they show me the ropes on how to fix things, and also a thing we call Maximo, which is just maintenance work and keeping everything up to standard. However, some days aren't always the same. Things do pop up, and I might go out there and we just think on spot, use your knowledge on how to fix it at that time. To balance this, it is actually very easy at Affinity Water. They give full focus on apprentices and they understand it isn't easy. So they give me a full dedicated day a week just to get over my coursework, make sure everything's completed, and when it is, they'll put me on something new to learn. With the training, for me, I live 2 hours away from any training course centres, so they'll give me the right accommodation just for when I get there, I'm in the right headspace and have the full ability to learn.
Hi, my name's Millie and I'm doing a level 3 HR administration apprenticeship at Northumbrian Water Group. I initially started doing the administration and advisory side of things, and since that I have moved throughout the different core HR teams. So I went to payroll and now I'm in recruitment. So it's given me an opportunity to go down different avenues of different parts of HR that I didn't actually know I would get the chance to ever do. I decided this route was right for me at this stage because I previously enrolled to a university and I later decided that it just wasn't for me. It's a lot of textbook work, a lot of hardcore studying, and I always thought that I learned better when I'm experiencing something hands-on. That's the type of person I am, and that's what I'm naturally aligned with. So having an apprenticeship opportunity really allowed me to get that experience to equip me to the workplace. Um, Whilst I learned about the role as well. So it was really helpful for me starting out a career. I knew that this was the place I was going to start out my career as soon as I stepped foot in the door because I was so welcomed, and ever since I started, I've thoroughly enjoyed what I've been doing. Just the learning aspect as a whole has been great. Everything that I've learned so far has contributed somewhat to not only my professional life, but also my personal skills and attributes. And I really realised that this was for me when I got to decide which areas I liked the most. I got that experience to do different parts of HR and see the world of work whilst I learnt something and earned money at the same time. Um, yeah. I would definitely recommend this route to graduates or career changers because, like I said, I dropped out of university. I thought that was the route I wanted to go down, but then I later decided that I wanted to do something completely different, and this is a perfect place to get started if you don't already have the experience and skills that some employers are looking for. I didn't have a qualification in HR, but this has allowed me the chance to actually gain a qualification and the experience to go with it to equip my work and life in future. So I definitely think it's for people of all age groups. It's not always just for 16-year-olds and school leavers. Anyone at any age can do an apprenticeship, and I think it's a great opportunity.
My name is Harvey Owen. I started as a South East Water customer service apprentice. I've now developed into a customer service assistant manager. Throughout my time doing the apprenticeship, I have progressively been trusted to do more and more and take on more added responsibility. I've gained so much knowledge through and information through doing the apprenticeship, and it has now aided me to becoming an assistant manager and developing within my role. Within my role, I'm provided a lot of time within the week to make sure that I'm completing all the work that's been assigned to me by the apprenticeship trainer, while also having enough time within the week to also fulfill my role and make sure I'm doing that to the best of my ability. I think there are many skills that I've gained while working through the apprenticeship and developing within my role. I think one of the main things is confidence. When I first started, I didn't have much confidence, but since then it has grown a lot to help me within my role and grow further.
Hello, my name is Jacob Tofts. I'm a graduate management trainee at Southern Water, working towards a team leader level 3 apprenticeship on the side of my graduate scheme. When I first joined Southern Water and started out in the industry, I wasn't aware of how much work that we do with the natural environment. And I've been really surprised and delighted to see that we work with the environment in such a close proximity, ensuring that we look after it now and for future generations. When I first applied for my role at Southern Water, I wasn't aware that it came alongside an apprenticeship, but having found out that when I first started, I was really pleased and happy, as I see it as a extra way to gain new skills that I haven't previously learned in my degree or my previous education. And I think that it's going to open up so many new avenues for me in the future in terms of leading others and helping support the development of other people in the business. When I first joined Southern Water, I was really surprised and delighted to see how much we work with local people and local communities, engaging and educating across our catchments. I work in the environment department and we do a lot of work with our catchment partnerships, working with NGOs, charities and local groups to ensure that we look after our catchments holistically and work together for the future.
Hi, my name is Daniel Thompson. I'm an apprentice project manager on a level 6 integrated degree program studying with the University of Cumbria based at Thames Water, currently working on the Guildford relocation major project. I was drawn to join the water industry and specifically Thames Water because I'm particularly passionate and interested in the environment. So to have the opportunity to work so directly in it and also working to make positive change and impact on how we as people and communities impact the environment and vice versa was really fascinating to me, and I absolutely love working in this area. So I work very closely with my immediate colleagues and my line manager. I have a weekly catch up with my line manager. And once every quarter, there are two particular meetings that I have. One is with my engagement partner from the company at Thames Water. And we discuss how I feel that I'm getting on with the apprenticeship. Are there any particular areas where I feel that I need to gain more experience, or if anything is too challenging? There's really open opportunity where I can really share and feel comfortable to share anything that is on my mind or that I'm concerned about, or maybe particularly wanting to try something new. And the other quarterly meeting that I have is a tripartite review with a learning provider representative and my line manager as well, who we together discuss my results that I'm getting at the university. Then I can share my own opinions again and thoughts on how I'm getting on in my workplace, how I'm getting on specifically at university and how those classes are going. I can provide feedback for the lecturers and all sorts. Again, is very open and flexible. And then finally, my line manager will provide feedback on my performance at work, sharing what their thoughts are, how they feel that I'm getting on, anything they think that I should be working to progress and develop. And to close that meeting, we collectively set a number of smart targets, perhaps between 4 to 6, that we will review for the next tripartite review. So I'm contracted 36 hours to work full time for Thames, and I study 1 day a week with the University of Cumbria online. And this time commitment is tough to balance, but it is very manageable if you are disciplined and keep to a tight schedule. If you can set aside the time, maybe put your out of office on the day that you're studying, then your colleagues are more often than not very happy to leave you to that time. If you need more time to do an exam, then they're very willing and open to you being honest and saying, look, I'm struggling a bit. I need to take less responsibility so I can focus on my assignment. Everyone in my experience has been very understanding. You know, many of them have been through university and studying before. They know what it's like when that exam or essay deadline is coming up, and they're very happy for you to take as much time as you need to focus on your priorities.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Marnie Prosser, and I work for Welsh Water. And the role I'm currently in is operational production supervisor within the water production area of the business. Yeah, so I think having gone through school and being quite keen on the sort of science and maths-based studies, I was a bit unsure of what I wanted to do. Wasn't sure if I wanted to go to uni. I felt like I was sort of done with full-time education, but knew I wasn't done with education totally. So I think that was the attraction, obviously, then of an apprenticeship, being able to learn on the job, work, but then get paid and still have qualifications at the end of it. Obviously, being from Wales myself, yeah, Welsh Water was a really renowned and well thought after company. So yeah, sounded it out, discussed it sort of with my parents at the time. And wanted a hands-on role, which is what attracted me to obviously the mechanical fitting apprenticeship, which is what I ended up doing. And the business in general, like I said, had a really, really positive sort of name for itself within Wales. And I thought that was something that I would really love to be a part of, and obviously providing customers with a service that is absolutely critical. Yeah, so a bit of context really first. So after completing my apprenticeship, I focused on really building relationships within the company and staying connected with colleagues across all areas of the business. Taking full advantage of internal training sessions, volunteering for projects outside of my usual responsibilities. Like I say, as we all know, networking is a really, really vital part of the role. And it wasn't just about meeting people, sort of about just demonstrating reliability and willingness to learn, which I feel has opened doors for me to progress to the point that I'm in now in my supervisory role. To be honest, it's just doing a lot more of that in the future, continuing that networking, continuing that hard work, building strong relationships across people within other areas of the business. And ideally, I'd love to obviously progress further and, yeah, one day be head of production, which is probably my short or long-term goal. Just make the most of every opportunity that comes your way. We're obviously quite a unique sector, providing obviously portable drinking water to customers that you need to obviously keep you alive, as well as providing the waste system that obviously the country and infrastructure wouldn't survive without. Ask questions, be curious, get involved with as much as you can. The more exposure you get, obviously, within the water business, the more confident you'll become. You'll build lasting relationships like I have with people across, obviously, not just the water sector, but obviously all the other sectors that feed in to the service we provide. And just take ownership of your journey. Like I say, my apprenticeship was absolute footing and the foundation of my career, and just make the most of every opportunity that comes your way, because I definitely did. And yeah, it's got me to where I am today.
Hi, I'm Bethany Stevenson. I'm an apprentice at Wessex Water in the catchment team. So I'm a catchment advisor. So that's working with farmers to promote sustainable practices. And it's a degree apprenticeship, which is an environmental practitioner apprenticeship with UE Bristol. I've gained skills such as communicating with farmers and influencing them, which could be transferred to other roles, and I've learnt to use software like GIS for making maps for going on farm visits and using coding to produce graphs from the data we collect. Yeah, so with Wessex Water, we have 1 day of volunteering a year. So when I started my apprenticeship in the induction, we got to do volunteering with the other apprentices. And now each year we do it in our teams. So for example, this year we went to Brownsea Island where we did some volunteering and got to see the red squirrels. And also I've been lucky in my role with the environment team. I've been able to go in different teams, such as the biodiversity team recently, where we do things like hedge planting. I first heard about the role at an online careers event where they were advertising the catchment role. And then I went to the apprenticeship day, which is in Bath, and I learned more about the environment team and decided to apply.
Hi, my name's Ethan Brailsford. I'm an emergency preparedness and resilience degree apprentice at Yorkshire Water. I'm currently 5 months into my journey here, so relatively new to the water industry and this aspect as well. I'm in a team of 6 specialists, including myself. Obviously, I'm not the specialist, I'm the apprentice. And I've got an engineering background after studying my BTEC, so fresh into it, as I said. I don't think there's such thing as a normal day for me, since one day is no similar to the next. But I suppose the general structure is I'm based at the Buttershore site in Bradford in central control, where I sit with my team of 6, as mentioned earlier, and it's a very reactive role in terms of that it depends what's going on that day. One day I could be talking to Nicola Shaw, CEO. Next day I could be talking to someone from a local resilience forum, LRF. I could actually be talking to stakeholders firsthand to an incident. So yeah, in terms of who I speak to, it's really, really diverse. And I quite like the fact you get chucked into the deep end with it a bit. It sort of, makes me prone to those real life situations. And me personally, I love to chat. So it's brilliant when I get to talk to all those different sort of people. What I enjoy most about the training is the fact, obviously, it is a level 6 degree apprenticeship, and for me that was the next step to take in my career. But also the fact of that, the way it's structured the learning. So obviously I balance my full-time role at Yorkshire Water as an EP&R specialist alongside studying at university down in Coventry. And we do that by having fortnightly sessions online where I'll learn the principles of emergency preparedness and resilience. And every quarter we'll go down to Coventry where we'll have a block week there. Yorkshire Water will obviously help me and provide me with the facilities to learn there. It's like booking accommodation, etc., etc. And I'll get to meet and network with fellow students within the cohort. And one thing I actually quite like about that is the amount of different people who are actually on the course, because I myself am fairly young at 19, fairly new into it. Whereas, as joking aside, there's some people there who's got grandkids a year or two younger than me. So it can be quite daunting at times, but the people there are lovely. Everyone I've met so far have been fantastic. And yeah, I just think the more I go, the more I learn, the more familiar I'll get with it, the more comfortable I'll get. Yes, so we actually did a team collaboration day last week where we went to ECUP and just had a bit of a sort of just generic chat, really, just figure out what everyone's doing, sort of scope for the future. Obviously, with the new year coming around, sort of reviewing progress we made last year. Obviously, myself was new, so obviously seeing how that's going so far and moving into the new year, what more things I can work on and sort of develop. Very early on when I started, we did some LRF collaboration days with the local resilience forums, where we basically had a load of people from the local areas like South Yorkshire, for example. We'd have police, fire, council, etc., come in, and we basically collaborate over emergency plans and review that, and maybe even sometimes do some exercising and training. And then, yeah, to round that off, I've been on various different site visits with obviously members of my team and also members from the control room. And it's just sort of nice to sort of see, instead of being sat at a desk and sort of a plan full of words, an actual sort of site that this plan applies for and how that applies and how that may look in terms of a crisis.
I'm Steph. I'm carrying out a level 3 apprenticeship in leakage with United Utilities. After working 10 years in planning, I'd reached a point where I wanted a career change. I was looking for something more hands-on and more future-proof. I'd taken the steps by going to night school and gaining qualifications in plumbing, and an apprenticeship felt like the right route for me to sort of build on a long-term career rather than just changing jobs. So initially I was looking for something within the plumbing industry. And then whilst researching, I came across the leakage technician apprenticeship and realised how closely the water industry links with plumbing. It felt like a natural fit with me, combining an existing interest with an industry that offers a variety of career prospects. So the progression opportunities are one of the biggest reasons I chose to make the career move. The water industry offers a wide range of career paths, from developing into a more technical role to even going into manager roles in the future. And due to the support I've received on my apprenticeship, I'm on track to finish my apprenticeship early, which has highlighted how much opportunity there is to grow and progress within the industry.
Thank you for taking the time to watch those videos. I think what you've just heard there really highlights the breadth of opportunities in the water industry and the different routes that people take to get into the apprenticeships. No two journeys are the same, whether it's the role, the level of apprenticeship, or the point at which someone joins the industry. You may have noticed some common themes: learning on the job, gaining recognised qualifications, and being supported to develop skills over time. Apprenticeships aren't just a way into the industry, they're a way to build a career and continue progressing as both the industry and your interests evolve. So now I've got a bit of time for a Q&A session. So any questions, please feel free to fire them into the Q&A section on the top. We've had a few questions come in already from the email. So the first one is for Infinity Water regarding when do your apprentice vacancies go live for 2026?
Thanks, Charlie. I can take that one. What I'll do is I'll post a link in the chat in a moment. The link will take you through to our Affinity Waters career page, and on there's the apprentice link. And on here you can register your interest. So as soon as our apprentice roles go live, which will be around the 16th of March, you'll be notified immediately and you can apply for the jobs. It's also got a lot of other useful information on that page. Other water companies will have a similar process, so just take a look at their career pages, but I'll go ahead and post a link on there now for you. Thanks,
Well,
Charlie.
thank you, Sally. Thank you. Question number 2 is for Northumbrian Water, and it is: where can applicants find and apply for your apprenticeship opportunities? Have we got anyone from Northumbrian on?
Apologies, I crashed out there. Can you repeat the question, please, Charlie?
Of course, Helen. It was where can applicants find and apply for your apprenticeship opportunities?
Yeah, via our website, which is nwg.co.uk. You can go directly into our early careers pages or our jobs boards, and you'll find access to any opportunities that are live. We've gone live with a couple of opportunities this morning, and we're going to be releasing some more over the next week or so. So you can set up a job alert as well. So just use apprenticeship as your keyword, and any opportunities that come out, you can get them direct into your inbox.
Real. Thank you, Helen. Next, we've got a question around what do apprentices get paid and what are the benefits? And that one is for Yorkshire Water.
Hi everybody, my name's Lucy. I work at Yorkshire Water and I'm one of our early and careers advisors. My role is predominantly to look after our apprentices. So what do apprentices get paid? Each individual water company will have a different rate of pay. However, it's important to remember that every employer has to, at least for the first academic year of your apprenticeship, pay a minimum of £7.55 per hour, which rises from April to £8 per hour. Here at Yorkshire Water, we pay the national living wage to our apprentices. However, you know, that again increases as per minimum wage rates. In terms of the benefits, so again, every water company will have something different, and it's important that when you're applying, most companies advertise what that is. So take a look at the job adverts when they come out. However, if you start to think about pensions, so possibly something that young people are looking to start is a pension pot when they start joining. There's that opportunity, there's annual leave. And then we stretch right through to the support packages. So here at Yorkshire Water, we make sure that apprentices have got a mentor, a line manager, and then you've got one of our advisors, which if you're an apprentice, it's myself. And we take you through all of the support mechanisms that you require for the duration of your apprenticeship and just shortly after. There's also other opportunities to get involved in things like additional training. So at Yorkshire Water, we deliver employability skills training packages to our apprentices, and other things like experiential learning days, which I know some of the other water companies do, and they support your underpinning behaviours that are part of your apprenticeship standard. And of course, one benefit, particularly if you are an A-level leaver or you're looking for a degree apprenticeship, is that your degree fees, your course fees for your degree, is all paid for by your employer. I hope that answers your question. Thanks, Charlie.
Real, thanks, Lucy. The next question we've got is for United Utilities, and it's how do you support apprentices who may need additional learning support?
Hi Charlie. Hi everyone. My name's Jackie Kavchak. I'm Head of Early Careers and Education at United Utilities. How do we support people who have got any kind of learning difficulties or anything like that? Well, it all starts with initial assessment. So when the learner joins us, they would have an initial assessment and we'd have a look at absolutely everything. If they've declared anything that they've got a learning need or anything like that, the first question that we would ask them is what support they've had in the past, because the learner can tell you a lot about what support they've had. If they've needed it in school or needed it in uni or needed it in college. No two learners are the same. So it's always different for every kind of learner. So we'd do a full initial assessment. We'd do some diagnostic testing. We'd ask them what that support is that they do need. How can we help them? And then we'd also, what we do is we'd recommend other kinds of support as well. We'd look to put reasonable adjustments in place. And when they're coming to the end of their apprenticeship and everything, we would contact the awarding organisation and we'd ensure that the awarding organisation is also putting those reasonable adjustments in place. What I would say to anyone, if you are applying for a role for an apprenticeship, don't hide the fact that you've got a learning difficulty or anything like that. Sometimes people don't want to say that they have, you know, if they're kind of moderate dyslexic or anything like that. They don't want to say it. Please do say it, because it's really, really important, because you can get that support that you really, really need, and that'll help you right through your apprenticeship programme. Once all that information comes in, it goes on to an individual training plan, and that training plan then is shared with the manager, the mentor, the learner, and the training provider. So everybody can work together to make sure they're getting all the adjustments that they need and all of the support that they need. I hope that answers the question.
Real, thanks, Jackie. The next question we've got was from somebody interested in Thames Water, and it's how can parents, carers or teachers support a young person through the application process?
Thanks, Charlie. Evening, everyone. My name's Dan. I'm part of our apprenticeship and graduate team here at Thames Water. There's a couple of bits really. I'll lean on what Jackie was just saying around being open and transparent. I think that's really important. You know, there are reasonable adjustments. There are lots of things that the employers and training providers can do, but knowing about them is the kind of first step in that process. So definitely don't shy away from any declarations that you might have. Obviously, for each company, there'll be a potentially slightly different application process, but it will be very similar. You'll likely have multiple stages. So I think encouragement of understanding the individual application process, what those multiple stages will entail. Each of the company websites will usually spell out what that process is, so you can kind of clearly see what you're going to do. So just take note of what the next stage is. Be vigilant in terms of checking your emails and texts and phone calls, because the early careers teams will be in contact for each of those stages, particularly about giving advice on what to do next. I would say, or building on what Millie said earlier, one of the apprentices, just remember employers are genuinely looking for potential rather than being someone that has got the skills already. So if you feel like you don't quite have the experience, lean into things around what you might have done in your education or even in things like sports teams. So if you've been a captain, sometimes you've got these transferable skills, like we heard from Harvey as well, around, in the context of your working life, you might not be there, but certainly you can apply those in that context. So yeah, I think be open and honest and transparent. Make sure you know the timing and the timelines and also the different stages of the process. And good luck to anyone applying.
Brilliant. Cheers, Dan. The next question we've got is for Welsh Water around the application and interview process that their apprentices have to go through.
Hi, thanks very much, Charlie. My name is Heather Hewitt and I work as a talent advisor with Welsh Water and look after the apprenticeships and the traineeships that we have. So what's the application and interview process involved? Well, good news is we opened our applications today, so please visit our website. Everybody's web-based applications now. What we ask you to do is to upload your CV and to also upload a cover letter to go with your CV, so that gives you an opportunity to then tailor your application towards the actual role that you're applying for. So our applications are open for 3 weeks. Once you've applied, you'll be invited to complete a short online assessment. And then if you get through that assessment, the next stage is online open days, and we're holding those in March. So essentially what they entail is about an hour and a half on an online session, much like this one, where you get an overview of the business and an overview of the roles. Then we have some networking activities in breakout rooms so that you're invited to join and participate in and answer some questions. And from there, we shortlist, and then you would go through to an assessment centre at or near your sort of local job, your job location, really. So it's in person this time. There you'll be invited to take part in a group activity and an interview with the hiring manager, so the person that you're probably going to be working with. And usually it is the manager that you get to meet on that day as well. We then make some offers in May, and then you would start your role in September. I would just like really to reiterate what Dan has said, that it's all about potential. We understand that lots of people who apply for these roles are not going to be very experienced, but that's okay, because we are, as I said, looking for potential, and it's about doing your best and putting yourself forward as much as you can and participating when you're answering the questions. Thanks very much.
Real, thank you, Heather. And the last question from our email entries is for Wessex Water, and it's: do you have any advice for applicants on how to stand out in an apprenticeship application?
Hi there, everybody. My name is Hannah Charlton and I lead on apprenticeships at Wessex Water. I think that's a really good question. And I think there are probably 2 tips that I could give everybody. The first one feels fairly obvious, but do your research about the organisation you're applying to join on an apprenticeship. And so your first thought about that might be to go and have a look at the company website. It's a great place to start, and you'll get to learn a lot about what the company is doing. But I'd also check other sources as well. So look at things like their social media channels, look at their YouTube channel, and listen to what they're trying to show the general public, what they're doing. It's where they'll talk about the exciting projects they're involved in and show the progress of those things. And if you're able to learn about those and reflect on those and talk about those during your application process and in interviews and things like that, then it shows you have that really keen interest in what that organisation is doing. The other tip that I would give you as well is to take some time before you do your application to reflect on the skills and the values that you currently have. As an employer, your exam results, whether you're coming out of GCSEs or coming out of A-levels, are really important. But I also want to know what your skills and values are. So skills being the things that you're good at, and then the values being the things that are important to you. So even if you're only 16 years old and you're coming out of year 11 with limited work experience, maybe you've not even had a job before, what you do have are those skills and values, those things you're good at and the things that are important to you. So take some time to identify what they are and talk about them on your application. Whether you're applying with a company that requires a CV, make sure you have a section for that on your CV. If it's a different style of application asking you questions about yourself, find ways to talk about those skills and values in your application. So make sure that you're not just stating what they are. Talk about how you demonstrate them as well. So for instance, if you want to say, you know, in terms of my skills, I'm a reliable person, show them how. So I'm reliable because I always make sure I arrive on time. Or maybe you want to say something like, I know, a value, I'm open-minded. Or how are you open-minded? Well, I'm open-minded because I always listen to other people's opinions and take that into consideration. So talk about the way you show those skills and values as well. So yeah, those are my 2 top tips.
Real, thank you. So we've got a couple of questions that have been put in the Q&A section of Teams. So we'll just go through a couple of those. So I've got one from Morgan about when do Welsh Water apprenticeship vacancies take place?
Hi again. Thanks for that question, Morgan. Today, so they're open today. We have 26 roles on our website available for you to start applying for. So good luck. Look forward to receiving your applications.
Amazing, thank you. The next question is for Thames Water around level 3 electrical technician routes. Dan, you might be able to shed some light on that than I can.
Yeah, no problem. Obviously, there's not time to go through our full list of vacancies, but absolutely, we do offer a level 3 electrical as well as mechanical and something called instrumentation, control and automation as well. So yeah, if you check out our website for our open vacancies, they started to open today. So you should start to see them filter through on our website.
Real, thanks, Dan. The next one is for Wessex Water, and that's is there any opportunities to do work experience, and would that help getting an apprenticeship?
Yes, so we currently have applications open for our work experience programme in the summer. So you are free to visit the careers pages of our website and put in an application there. I will say, you know, places are limited and we have a very high demand, but we treat it almost like a job application process. You have an opportunity to really go into why you want to do that, and we take that into consideration. And yes, absolutely, that insight is going to help you, give you more information and more insight into careers with us. But you know, many of our apprentices, probably most of our apprentices that end up working with us, haven't gone down that route. There are lots of ways in.
Brill, thank you. 2 for you now, Lucy, for Yorkshire Water, and it's when are the apprenticeships due to be advertised, and what are the entry-level requirements for a pollution engineer?
Thanks, Charlie. Yep, so our apprenticeship vacancies are due to go live at the end of this week. So if you check on our website on Friday, there will be some vacancies live and they will start to trickle in across the period of February. In terms of the entry requirements for a pollution engineer, we don't actually have an apprenticeship in that this year, unfortunately. However, you know, the entry requirements for a lot of our operational apprenticeships are a minimum of 5 GCSEs, including English, maths, and some have a science subject. If you have functional skills at level 2, that's obviously equivalent, and that needs to be at a minimum of a pass, a grade C, or a 4 and above, depending on which level of GCSE you took and at which year. And then we also require a lot of driving licenses for our entry-level apprenticeships in operations. And that's pretty much because, one, we get to work in the most beautiful parts of Yorkshire, which aren't on a bush route. So it's harder and more challenging to reach out to some of our sites. And two, it's for a safeguarding purpose, to ensure that all of our apprentices are safeguarded whilst accessing our sites. I hope that answers your questions.
Real thanks, Lucy. One from Reese around applications for apprenticeships at Southern Water. I'm not sure we've got any representation from Southern Water today. If anybody can jump in if they are from Southern Water, but if not, I would say, Reese, just keep your eyes put on the website. It'll be around this time of year, but definitely keep an eye out. And also keep an eye out on the EU Skills website. They post a lot of openings, so I'm sure they'll go live on there as well. And one last question. Do employers consider candidates outside the UK? If anybody wants to jump in and answer that one.
I'm happy to initially take it, and if anyone wants to expand, I guess there's two answers to that in terms of there's actually some funding eligibility criteria that is set by the government. So I would encourage you to check the government website for who is and isn't eligible for funding, because whilst each company might have their own criteria, there is some standard as well. So that would be my steer, is to check that funding first. Lucy, I don't know if you were going to expand at all.
I was just going to cover the same as you, Dan, but wanted to make sure Charlie had an answer. But yeah, exactly the same as what Dan has echoed there. We are governed by funding restrictions on apprenticeship programmes, and that's slightly different to graduate programmes. So it's always worth checking funding eligibility first, which you can find on the government website.
Real. Thank you, guys. So that's all of our questions for today. So before we finish, sorry, Jackie, go on.
Just to put a little bit of clarity around that with regards to the funding, you have to be resident in the UK for 3 years to qualify for any kind of apprenticeship funding, just so people do understand. So you would have had to have been resident in the UK for 3 years.
Actually, that's definitely worth knowing. So before we finish today, if any of this has sparked your attention, the next step's quite straightforward. Take a look at current apprenticeship opportunities with water companies and across the supply chain. Speak to employers or career advisors and keep an eye out for upcoming vacancies. For more information, you can visit the Energy Utility Job site under the Your Future Flows Here tab, or you can email hello@energyutilityjobs.co.uk. So whether you're starting out, considering an apprenticeship into the university, or looking for a new direction, apprenticeships offer a genuine route into a long-term, purposeful career in the water industry. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us today, and hopefully I'll see you all in the industry soon.